I tried everything to fall asleep. Melatonin? Didn't work. White noise? Made me anxious. Lavender tea? Tasted like regret. Even TikTok ASMR. I ended up wide awake at 3 a.m., watching a girl pretend to brush my hair. Night after night, I'd lie there staring at the ceiling, calculating how many hours I could still sleep if I fell asleep right now. Sound familiar? But then, I found something that actually worked, and it didn't come in a bottle or an app. It was something called CBT-I. And no, I hadn't heard of it either. But this one concept, changing how I think about sleep, completely rewired the way I rest. So if your brain turns into a TED Talk every night at bedtime, this video is for you. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through what CBT-I is, why most sleep advice is garbage, and the 3 things I did that completely transformed my sleep. No pills, no gimmicks, just brain science that actually works. And hey, before we dive in, I'd love to know, where are you watching from and what time is it right now? Hopefully not 2:47 a.m. But if it is, you're in the right place. If you've ever battled insomnia, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm you want better sleep content. Subscribe for more science-backed mental health videos every week. And if this helps you, share it with the one friend who's always texting you, "Can't sleep at 1 a.m. Let's get into it. So, what is CBT-I? And why does it sound like something your therapist prescribes along with a journal and a weighted blanket? Well, CBT-I stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia. And I know it sounds clinical and kind of boring, but hang with me. This changed my life. Here's the simple version. CBT-I isn't about knocking you out. It's not about pills, potions, or magical sleep playlists. It's about training your brain to stop freaking out about sleep. If you've ever tried to sleep, like really tried, you know how weird that sounds. Sleep is supposed to be natural, right? But with insomnia, it becomes this high-stakes mental game. CBT. I flips that game on its head. It teaches your brain, hey, sleep's no big deal. You don't have to chase it. You just need to unlearn the stuff that's keeping you up. Think of it like this. You wouldn't train a puppy by yelling, "Sleep now," every 5 minutes. You guide it gently, with structure and consistency. CBT-I is puppy training for your insomnia brain. For me, that shift, going from "I have to sleep" to "I just need to stop fighting sleep," was huge. The moment I stopped trying to win sleep like it was some kind of battle, I finally started to rest. And that's the core idea we'll build on in the next part. Why most of the popular sleep tips out there, yes, including the ones all over TikTok, might actually be making things worse. Let's talk about it. Let's be honest. When you tell someone you can't sleep, what do they say? Try chamomile tea. Put lavender on your pillow. Don't look at your phone. Have you tried breathing? Yeah, Brenda, I've tried breathing. Now, don't get me wrong. These things can help a little. But if you have real insomnia, they're like putting a Band-Aid on a leaky faucet. The problem's not the surface. It's the plumbing underneath. Here's the truth that most sleep advice skips. The more you try to sleep, the harder it gets. The moment your brain starts thinking, "What if I don't fall asleep again?" Game over. You've entered the sleep anxiety loop. I remember lying in bed staring at the clock like it was judging me. 11:32, 12:17, 1:04. Every minute that passed made me feel more desperate. I wasn't just tired. I was scared of not sleeping. That's where cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBT-I, comes in. It doesn't tell you to drink more tea. It teaches you how to change the thought patterns that are keeping you up. Because here's the thing. Insomnia isn't just about bad habits. It's about the fear of not sleeping. And most advice out there only feeds that fear. The lesson? Stop trying to sleep like it's a to-do list. Start training your brain to see sleep as no big deal. And that's exactly what we'll dig into next. How CBT-I reframes sleep, and how one mindset shift completely rewired the way I rest at night. Let's break it down. Okay, so what is the magic behind CBT-I? Why does this therapy work when all the sleepy time tea and essential oils in the world don't? Here's the core idea. CBT-I helps you break the cycle of anxiety and habits that fuel insomnia. It's not just about falling asleep. It's about changing the relationship you have with sleep itself. When I had insomnia, my bed wasn't a place of rest. It felt like a torture chair. The second I got in, my brain would light up. What if I can't sleep again tonight? What if tomorrow's ruined? What if I lose my job, crash my car, and die because I can't sleep? That spiral? That's what CBT-I tackles. Instead of trying to force sleep, CBT-I shows you how to unlearn the panic you associate with bedtime. Replace the sleep rituals that don't help and retrain your brain to see your bed as a safe place again, not a war zone. It's kind of like exposure therapy, but for pillows. And here's the wild part. CBT-I works even if you've had insomnia for years, because it's not about sleeping harder, it's about worrying less. The shift that helped me? I stopped seeing my bed as the enemy. I stopped judging myself for not sleeping right. And slowly, my brain stopped freaking out when I laid down. In the next part, I'll share the 3 specific CBT-I tools that actually helped me fall asleep again. No meds, no fancy gear, just good brain rewiring. So let's get into the good stuff. What actually worked? There are a few tools inside cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia that honestly felt weird at first, but completely rewired how I sleep. Let me break down the 3 that changed the game for me. Tool number 1. Cognitive restructuring. Ditch the 8-hour rule. You've probably heard it. You need 8 hours of sleep to function. But here's the truth. That number is not a law. It's an average, not a guarantee, not a judgment, and not a failure if you don't hit it. CBT-I helped me let go of that pressure. Instead of lying in bed thinking, I only have 6 hours left, now 5. I learned to think, whatever sleep I get is enough for tonight. That one mindset shift reduced so much stress. I stopped measuring sleep like a grade on a test and started trusting my body a little more. Tool number 2. Stimulus control. Bed is for sleep, and that's it. This one hit hard. CBT-I says your bed should only be associated with sleep, and well, maybe one other fun thing. But no scrolling, no movies, no stressing, no doom thinking. Because the brain is a creature of habit. If every night you watch Netflix in bed while worrying about sleep, guess what your brain learns? That your bed is a place to be awake, anxious, alert. I stopped using my bed like a couch, and over time, my brain started recognizing it as a cue to wind down, not turn up. Small habit, big shift. Tool number 3. Sleep restriction. Less time in bed, better sleep. This one sounds backwards, but hear me out. CBT-I actually limits how long you're allowed to be in bed. Why? Because lying in bed awake trains your brain to be comfortable with not sleeping. Sleep restriction works by only letting you be in bed during your average sleep time, say 5 hours. Once your sleep becomes more solid, you gradually increase that time. It's like hitting reset on your sleep efficiency. I'll be honest, the first few nights were rough. But by the end of week 2, I wasn't just sleeping more, I was sleeping better. What I learned from these tools? Insomnia isn't just a sleep problem, it's a learning problem. And CBT-I teaches your brain to unlearn all the stuff that's keeping you up. In the next part, I'll tell you exactly how it felt putting these tools into practice, because spoiler alert, it wasn't all rainbows and REM cycles at first. Let's talk about the messy middle. Okay, so here's the part most people don't talk about. The first week of CBT-I sucked, like really sucked. I remember lying in bed, exhausted but wired. I'd done all the right things, cut caffeine, fixed my light exposure, did the whole no phone at night routine. And still, nothing. My brain was like, nice try, we're staying up just to spite you. I was frustrated. Honestly, I doubted the whole thing. I even Googled, is CBT-I a scam? And the sleep restriction part? Brutal. Going to bed later on purpose, then waking up early with 0 naps? I felt like I was being punished for trying to heal. But here's what surprised me. Somewhere in week 2, things shifted. I wasn't falling asleep right away, but I was starting to get sleepy around the same time each night. My thoughts weren't racing as much. And even if I had a bad night, I didn't spiral the way I used to. My anxiety about sleep was quieting down, finally. One night, I laid down, turned off the lights, and the next thing I knew, it was morning. No mental gymnastics, no panic, just sleep. That moment wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, peaceful, and honestly, kind of emotional. The lesson? CBT-I isn't instant. It's not sexy. It's not magical. But it works, if you trust the process and give it time. In the next part, I'll tell you the mistakes I still made during CBT-I and what I'd do differently if I could start over. Let's talk about that. So if CBT-I is so effective, why do so many people give up? Well, truth is, it's not hard to start CBT-I. The hard part is sticking with it. Let's talk about the two biggest mistakes I made, and that I see others make too. Mistake number 1. Quitting too soon. Look, I get it. When you've been sleep deprived for weeks or months, the idea of waiting longer for results feels unbearable. But CBT-I isn't a quick fix. It's a full-on brain reprogramming. And like any rewiring, it gets messy before it gets better. I almost quit on day 5. I told myself, this clearly isn't working. But what I didn't realize was, my brain was already learning, even if I couldn't feel it yet. If I had stopped then, I would have missed the breakthrough just days later. Mistake number 2. Skipping the sleep diary. This one feels small, but it matters. CBT-I encourages you to track your sleep. When you go to bed, when you actually fall asleep, how many times you wake up, how you feel the next day. At first I thought, why bother? I already know I'm tired. But writing it down made patterns visible, like, I always slept better after exercise. Or, I woke up more on days I had late caffeine. Tracking gave me back a sense of control. It stopped being this vague, frustrating mystery, and became something I could work with. The lesson? Sleep data isn't for perfection. It's for awareness. You don't need to obsess, you just need to notice. In the final part, I'll share what my sleep looks like now, and the one mindset shift that made the biggest long-term difference. Let's wrap it up. Here's the part I never thought I'd say. I don't even think about sleep anymore. And honestly, that's the point. Back when insomnia ruled my life, every night felt like a test. I'd go to bed bracing for battle, calculating hours, chasing solutions, blaming myself. But now, I get sleepy, I lie down, I fall asleep. That's it. No drama, no what-ifs, no pressure. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia didn't just give me more sleep, it gave me back my mental space. And the benefits? Oh man, where do I start? I wake up with actual energy. My mood swings, way less chaotic. I remember things better. I focus more. I even stopped snapping at baristas when they spell my name wrong. Okay, maybe not every time. But the biggest win? I trust my body again. I don't see sleep as this mysterious force I have to earn or trick. It's just something my brain knows how to do now, because I stopped getting in its way. The lesson? Good sleep isn't about controlling your body. It's about getting out of its way. And CBT-I taught me how to do that. In the final wrap-up, I'll leave you with a small challenge. Something simple you can try tonight. Because yes, you can start changing your sleep, one step at a time. Let's finish this together. So let's recap. You learned that insomnia isn't about being broken. It's about a brain that got stuck in panic mode. You learned that cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia doesn't knock you out. It retrains your brain to sleep again. And you saw how I went from wired and weary to peacefully passed out, using tools that were weird at first, but wildly effective. Now it's your turn. Here's your challenge. Try just one of the CBT-I tools tonight. Maybe it's telling yourself, whatever sleep I get is enough. Maybe it's getting out of bed if you can't sleep after 20 minutes. Maybe it's writing down how your night went tomorrow morning. Just pick one, and give it a shot. And then, come back here and drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from, what time it is, and which tool you tried. I read every single one, and yes, I'm cheering for you, even at 3 a.m. If this video helped even a little, give it a like. It helps other night owls find it. Subscribe for more no-fluff, science-backed tools to help you take back your brain, your health, and your calm. And if you've got a friend who texts, "I can't sleep" every other night, send this their way. Be their hero. You can sleep again, and it won't be perfect, but it will get better, if you let it. See you in the next video. And until then, good night, friend.